Imagine waking up in the middle of the night to the sound of rats scratching beneath your bed. The room is almost completely dark. A weak fire struggles to stay alive in the corner. Smoke hangs in the air because there is no chimney. Every breath burns your lungs. You pull a thin wool blanket closer around your body. It does almost nothing. The winter cold slips through the cracks in the wooden walls. Your stomach growls. You want to sleep hungry. Again. Outside, the muddy streets are silent except for the distant barking of dogs and the occasional cry of someone who has had too much ale. There are no streetlights, no police, no hospitals, no supermarkets, no clean water running from a tap. Everything you need to survive must be fought for every single day. And if you fail, even once, the consequences can be deadly. This is not the life of a poor beggar. This is normal life. This is medieval Europe. Today, many people imagine the Middle Ages as a time of brave knights, majestic castles, royal feasts, and heroic battles. Movies show shining armor. Stories tell us about noble kings. Paintings depict beautiful castles standing proudly on green hills. But those images hide a much darker reality. Behind every castle wall were thousands of ordinary people struggling through lives filled with hunger, disease, fear, violence, and endless hard labor. For most people, every day was a battle simply to stay alive. And the worst part? They had no way out. No matter how hard they worked, no matter how intelligent they were, no matter how much they dreamed, the life they were born into would likely be the life they died in. But things were about to get even worse. Because being born in medieval Europe meant entering a world where your future had already been decided before your first breath. And what happened next would shape every moment of your existence. Imagine taking your first breath inside a small wooden hut surrounded by muddy fields. The year is 1250. You are not born into a palace. You are not born into wealth. You are born a peasant. And in the eyes of society, that is exactly what you will remain. The world around you is divided into strict layers. At the top stand kings and queens. Below them are powerful nobles who own vast areas of land. Then come knights and members of the church. And at the very bottom are people like you. The peasants, the laborers, the farmers, the people who do almost all the work. From the moment you can walk, your life becomes tied to the land. You help gather firewood. You feed animals. You carry water. By the age of 7 or 8, you are already contributing to the survival of your family. There is no childhood as we understand it today. No school buses. No playgrounds. No video games. No dreams of becoming anything you want. Most peasants never travel farther than a few miles from where they were born. Entire lives begin and end within sight of the same church tower. The local lord owns the land. You work it. You owe him labor. You owe him taxes. You owe him part of your harvest. And if the harvest fails, you still owe him. The system leaves little room for hope. Many peasants spend their entire lives working fields they will never own. Year after year, generation after generation. Parents pass their poverty to their children, and their children pass it to theirs. Sometimes a traveler arrives from a distant town. For a brief moment, villagers gather to hear stories of faraway places. Magnificent cities, foreign kingdoms, busy ports filled with ships. The stories sound almost magical. Yet for most villagers, they might as well be tales from another planet. Those places are beyond reach. Their world is small, and survival consumes every waking hour. Still, life could always become worse. Because even if you worked hard and obeyed the rules, there was one enemy you could never control: hunger. And hunger haunted medieval Europe like a shadow, every single year. Imagine waking before sunrise and walking into a field covered with frost. The crop that was supposed to feed your family through winter is dying. You kneel in the dirt and run your fingers across the damaged plants. A sick feeling grows inside your chest. You already know what this means. Less food, less bread, more suffering. For medieval peasants, hunger was not an occasional problem. It was a constant companion. Most families lived dangerously close to starvation. A single bad harvest could push an entire village into crisis. Too much rain ruined crops. Too little rain ruined crops. Early frost ruined crops. Plant disease ruined crops. One mistake by nature could destroy months of work. And nature made mistakes often. The average peasant diet was incredibly simple. Bread, porridge, vegetables, occasionally cheese, rarely meat. Many people spent years without tasting fresh beef or pork. Meat was expensive. Livestock were valuable. Animals were often more useful alive than on a dinner plate. As winter approached, anxiety spread through villages. Everyone counted supplies. Everyone worried. Would the food last? Would spring arrive before the stores ran out? Nobody knew. During famines, the situation became horrifying. Families sold possessions to buy food. Parents skipped meals so children could eat. People searched forests for roots, nuts, and anything remotely edible. Some accounts describe desperate villagers eating grass, bark, and even animals that had died from disease. And yet this was only the beginning, because hunger weakened the body, and a weak body became the perfect target for another deadly threat: disease. A threat that medieval Europe barely understood. Imagine waking up with a fever so intense that your entire body feels like it's burning. Your head pounds. Your throat aches. Your skin is covered in strange red spots. You know something is wrong. Very wrong. But there is no doctor waiting at a nearby clinic. No ambulance. No antibiotics. No understanding of germs. In medieval Europe, sickness was one of the greatest fears a person could face. People became ill constantly. Contaminated water spread disease. Rotting food spread disease. Animals living close to humans spread disease. Even minor cuts could become deadly infections. Today, a simple infection can often be cured with medicine. Back then, it could become a death sentence. The worst part was that nobody truly understood why people got sick. The idea that tiny, invisible organisms cause disease would not be discovered for centuries. Instead, many believed illness came from bad air, divine punishment, or an imbalance of bodily fluids known as humors. As a result, treatments were often ineffective, and sometimes they were deadly. A sick person might be bled with sharp knives to remove bad blood. Others swallowed strange mixtures made from herbs, minerals, and animal parts. Some doctors prescribed crushed gemstones. Others recommended prayers. Many treatments caused more suffering than the disease itself. Medical knowledge varied widely. A few skilled physicians existed in large cities. But most ordinary people relied on local healers, folk remedies, and hope. If a child developed a severe infection, parents could do little except watch and pray. If a fever worsened, families gathered around the bed preparing for the worst. Death was familiar. It visited every village, every family, every generation. People expected to lose loved ones. Many mothers buried children before those children reached adulthood. Many children grew up without knowing one or both parents. Life was fragile, shockingly fragile. Yet even these constant illnesses would soon be overshadowed by something far more terrifying. Something that would sweep across Europe like a nightmare. Something that would kill millions. The Black Death. Imagine standing in a crowded marketplace. Merchants are shouting. Animals are moving through the streets. Children are playing nearby. Everything feels normal. Then rumors begin to spread. A strange sickness has appeared. Entire towns are dying. At first, nobody believes it. Stories travel slowly. People assume the reports are exaggerated. But then the sickness arrives. And suddenly, everything changes. In 1347, one of the deadliest pandemics in human history reached Europe. Known today as the Black Death, the plague spread with terrifying speed. Within only a few years, it would kill tens of millions of people. Entire communities vanished. Villages disappeared. Cities became graveyards. Victims often developed painful swellings called buboes. These dark, swollen lumps appeared under the arms, around the neck, and in the groin. Fevers rose rapidly. Weakness consumed the body. Many people died within days. Some died within hours. The disease seemed unstoppable. Families watched loved ones collapse. Parents buried children. Children buried parents. Sometimes entire households died together. Fear spread faster than facts. People desperately searched for explanations. Some blamed poison wells. Others blamed outsiders. Many believed God was punishing humanity for its sins. As death filled the streets, social order began to crumble. Farmers abandoned fields. Merchants fled cities. Priests struggled to perform endless funerals. In some places, there were too many dead to bury properly. Mass graves became common. The smell of death lingered everywhere. For survivors, the psychological scars lasted a lifetime. Imagine spending months watching neighbors disappear one by one. Imagine wondering every morning whether today would be your last. The plague transformed Europe forever. But even after the worst waves passed, daily life remained harsh. Because death was not the only thing lurking in medieval streets. Filth surrounded people everywhere, and it created problems that most modern people can barely imagine. Imagine stepping outside your home after a heavy rain. The street is not paved. It is a sea of mud. Mixed into that mud are animal droppings, garbage, food scraps, and human waste. The smell is overwhelming. You cover your nose. It barely helps. For many medieval towns and cities, sanitation was almost non-existent. Waste often ended up in the streets. People emptied chamber pots from windows. Animals wandered freely. Pigs, chickens, horses, and dogs shared crowded spaces with humans. During hot weather, odors became unbearable. Flies gathered everywhere. Rats thrived. Water sources were frequently contaminated. Wells could become polluted. Rivers often served as both drinking water sources and dumping grounds. People had little understanding of how dangerous this was. As a result, disease spread easily. Bathing habits varied across regions and time periods. Contrary to popular myths, some medieval people did bathe, but regular access to clean water was not guaranteed. For many peasants, staying alive mattered far more than staying clean. Clothes were worn repeatedly. Homes filled with smoke from indoor fires. Floors were often covered with straw that collected dirt, food scraps, and insects. Life was messy, uncomfortable, and frequently unsanitary. Yet despite these conditions, people still had to work. Every single day, whether they were sick, exhausted, or hungry, because survival demanded constant effort. And that effort was brutal. Imagine waking before dawn. The sky is still black. The air is freezing. Your muscles ache from yesterday's work. But rest is not an option. You get up anyway. For most people in medieval Europe, life revolved around labor. Backbreaking labor. Farmers spent long days plowing fields with simple tools. They planted crops by hand, harvested by hand, carried heavy loads by hand. Every task demanded physical strength. Every season brought new challenges. Spring meant planting. Summer meant maintenance. Autumn meant harvesting. Winter meant preparing to survive until the next growing season. There were no tractors, no engines, no modern machinery. Human muscles and animal power carried the burden. Even children worked. By modern standards, the workload would seem shocking. Young boys and girls helped in fields, cared for animals, gathered fuel, and performed household chores. Work was not something adults did. It was something entire families did. From sunrise until sunset, and sometimes beyond. A failed harvest could mean starvation. So people pushed themselves relentlessly. Injuries were common. Exhaustion was constant. Old age often arrived early. Years of physical labor wore down the body. Bent backs, damaged joints, missing teeth, chronic pain. These were ordinary parts of life. But hard work alone was not enough to guarantee safety. Because violence existed everywhere, and justice could be terrifying. What happened next could be far worse than hard labor. Because breaking the law in medieval Europe often meant experiencing punishments that modern people would find unimaginable. Imagine standing in the center of a crowded town square. People surround you from every direction. Merchants stop selling their goods. Children climb onto barrels for a better view. Everyone is watching the same thing. Your hands are tied. The local authorities have declared you guilty. And now the punishment is about to begin. In medieval Europe, justice was often harsh, public, and designed to inspire fear. Authorities believed punishment should not only hurt the criminal, but also serve as a warning to everyone else. The message was simple: obey the rules, or suffer the consequences. For minor offenses, people might be placed in stocks or pillories. Their head and hands were locked into a wooden frame while crowds mocked them. Sometimes spectators threw rotten food, sometimes stones. The humiliation could be almost as painful as the punishment itself. More serious crimes brought far worse consequences. Whipping, branding, mutilation, execution. These were not rare stories whispered in secret. They were public events. Entire communities gathered to watch. The methods varied from place to place, but the goal remained the same: fear. Authorities wanted ordinary people to think twice before breaking the law. Yet justice was not always fair. The wealthy often received better treatment than the poor. A nobleman and a peasant could commit similar offenses and face very different outcomes. Power mattered. Status mattered. Money mattered. For ordinary villagers, challenging authority was dangerous. Even if you were innocent, proving it could be difficult. Some regions still use trial by ordeal. A person might be forced to hold hot iron or endure another painful test. If they survived or healed in a certain way, it was seen as proof of innocence. Today, such practices seem unbelievable. But at the time, many people accepted them as part of life. Yet while punishment was frightening, another threat loomed over nearly every household. A threat that shaped daily existence from the moment a child was born. The struggle of family life itself. Imagine a young woman standing beside a small fire. She is barely 17 years old. In her arms is a newborn baby. She looks exhausted, because she has already spent hours working that day, and tomorrow will be no different. Life for women in medieval Europe was often filled with responsibility, hardship, and danger. Most women worked constantly. They cooked meals, collected water, made clothing, cared for children, managed household tasks, helped with farming, fed animals, and often performed countless other duties. Their work was essential, yet it was rarely recognized as important by society. Marriage usually happened young. For many women, major life decisions were made by family members rather than by themselves. Opportunities were limited, rights were limited, expectations were clear. Work hard, obey authority, support the household. Childbirth was especially dangerous. Today, giving birth is far safer thanks to modern medicine. In the Middle Ages, every pregnancy carried serious risks. Complications could appear suddenly. Infections were common. Many women died bringing children into the world. And even when mothers survived, there was no guarantee their children would. Infant mortality was heartbreakingly high. Many babies never reached their first birthday. Many children never reached adulthood. Families often experienced repeated loss. Parents loved their children deeply, but they also understood a painful reality. There were no guarantees. Every illness created fear. Every fever raised questions. Would the child recover? Or would another funeral soon follow? Children who survived quickly became workers. By modern standards, childhood was short. Young boys and girls learned responsibilities early because survival required it. Every pair of hands mattered. Every task mattered. Every day mattered. Yet despite all these struggles, families faced another terrifying reality. At any moment, war could arrive. And when it did, ordinary people often suffered the most. Imagine waking up to smoke rising on the horizon. At first, you think someone is burning brush. Then you hear screams. Then horses. Then the sound of steel. An army is approaching. And suddenly your peaceful village is no longer safe. Throughout much of the medieval period, warfare was a constant presence. Kings fought kings. Nobles fought nobles. Rebellions erupted. Orders shifted. Power changed hands. And ordinary people frequently found themselves trapped in the middle. For peasants, war was rarely glorious. It meant destruction. Fields could be burned, livestock stolen, homes destroyed, food supplies seized. Entire villages might be looted by passing soldiers. Families often fled with whatever possessions they could carry. Many never returned. Even victorious armies could leave devastation behind. Soldiers needed food. They needed shelter. And they often took what they wanted, whether villagers agreed or not. Castles offered protection to the powerful. But common people were far more vulnerable. A single military campaign could undo years of hard work. A family that had finally built a small measure of stability could lose everything in a matter of hours. Violence was not limited to battlefields. Weapons were common. Conflicts between neighbors sometimes turned deadly. Bandits operated along roads. Travel could be dangerous, especially after dark. For many people, safety was never guaranteed. Yet there was something even more powerful than kings, armies, or noble families. Something that shaped how people understood every aspect of life. Religion, and with it came fear, hope, and superstition. Imagine entering a stone church on a cold winter morning. Sunlight streams through colored glass. Candles flicker in the darkness. The scent of incense fills the air. People kneel quietly, heads bowed, praying. In medieval Europe, religion was at the center of life. It shaped laws, morality, education, politics, and everyday decisions. For many people, Faith provided comfort in a difficult world. When disease struck, they prayed. When crops failed, they prayed. When loved ones died, they prayed. Religion offered hope that suffering had meaning, that a better existence awaited beyond death. But faith also came with fear. People worried about sin, judgment, hell, divine punishment. Many believed supernatural forces actively influenced daily life. A failed harvest might be seen as God's anger. A disease outbreak might be interpreted as punishment for wrongdoing. Superstitions flourished alongside religious beliefs. Some people carried charms. Others feared witches. Strange events were often explained through spiritual causes rather than natural ones. The unknown was frightening, and much of the world remained unknown. Storms, eclipses, disease, natural disasters. Many events seemed mysterious and terrifying. Without scientific understanding, fear often filled the gaps. Yet despite all these hardships, medieval people endured. They built communities, raised families, created traditions, and survived in conditions that would challenge most modern people. Which raises an important question. Just how different is life today? The answer reveals how dramatically the world has changed. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. You turn on a light. Clean water flows from a faucet. Food waits in your kitchen. A doctor is only a phone call away. You may not think about these things often, but compared to most people in medieval Europe, they are extraordinary luxuries. Today, we have antibiotics, vaccines, modern surgery, medical knowledge built through centuries of research. Diseases that once killed millions can often be treated or prevented. Food is more abundant. Transportation is faster. Communication is instant. Education is available to far more people. Opportunities exist that medieval peasants could never have imagined. A person born into poverty today still faces challenges. But unlike most medieval peasants, their future is not automatically fixed at birth. Technology has transformed daily life. Machines perform tasks that once required exhausting manual labor. Heating protects us from winter. Refrigeration preserves food. Modern sanitation removes waste safely. Clean drinking water reaches billions of people. Even entertainment has changed beyond recognition. A medieval villager might hear a few stories during a lifetime. Today, knowledge from around the world can be accessed within seconds. Of course, modern life is not perfect. Every era has problems. Every generation faces challenges. But when we compare our world to the realities of medieval existence, the difference is staggering. And perhaps that makes one final truth even more remarkable. Because despite everything they endured, medieval people kept going. Day after day, year after year, against incredible odds. Imagine standing on a hill overlooking a medieval village as the sun disappears below the horizon. Smoke rises from dozens of small homes. Church bells echo in the distance. Farmers slowly return from the fields. Children gather near fires. Families prepare simple meals. For a moment, the scene looks peaceful, almost beautiful. But behind that beauty lies a harsher reality. The people below are living lives filled with uncertainty. Many do not know whether their harvest will survive, whether disease will strike, whether war will arrive, whether their children will live to adulthood. Every day is a struggle against forces they cannot control. Hunger, illness, violence, fear. For most people, life in medieval Europe was not a grand adventure. It was a relentless fight for survival. Yet these people endured. They adapted. They persevered. And through their struggles, they helped build the foundations of the modern world. The roads we travel, the cities we inhabit, the institutions we rely on. Many trace their roots back to this difficult era. Their lives remind us how precious modern comforts truly are. The next time you drink clean water, visit a doctor, switch on a light, or enjoy a meal without worrying where the next one will come from, remember the millions who lived through centuries of hardship without any of those advantages. Because history is not just a story about kings and castles. It is a story about ordinary people. People who woke before dawn, worked until exhaustion, faced unimaginable challenges, and somehow kept moving forward. The Middle Ages may seem distant now, but the struggles of those who lived through them still echo across time. And perhaps the greatest lesson they leave behind is this: The world we take for granted today was built upon centuries of suffering, endurance, and survival. And that is why life in medieval Europe was so miserable. Yet it is also why their story remains unforgettable. Thanks for watching Midnight History. And remember, the past is never as far away as it seems.